the return to IQSSL racing makes its way to the second classic track of the 2024 Season 3 schedule. It is live from the virtual USA International Speedway, where tonight we welcome you to coverage of the IQSSL pre-race show on the K1 Racing Network with our pre-race coverage of the USA Roller Coasters 56, once again from the classic USA Speedway in Lakeland, Florida. Welcome everyone to the coverage on the K1 Racing Network. As always, we're up atop the broadcast booth here in Virtual USA. I am Kenneth Bueno. Now, last week, of course, we brought in all of the memories, all of the people that you've gotten to know over the last several years, either through K1 Racing Network coverage or just around the iRacing scene, specifically with this channel, but you got to know all the personalities. Then we're going to talk about what is going to come up in this race tonight here at USA. It's going to be race number 2 of the 2024 schedule. We've got many races to go up until the end of the summer at Homestead Miami Speedway, but we had a banger of a race at Charlotte Motor Speedway to kick things out. Some pre-race jitters, let out here and there. We got used to the format, but for the most part, everyone got back on track. We were all excited to get race 1 done and dusted. No theme for that race, but tonight we get to spice things up, especially on the scheme reveal segment of our broadcast tonight. It is the favorite driver theme, so everyone in this race going to be rocking schemes based on their favorite NASCAR driver, whether it be from the Cup, Xfinity, or Truck Series. Even beyond that, we'll see all of the beautiful schemes on display as we talk to each and every driver. But you look at the 2024 schedule, of course, beginning with Charlotte, that race won by none other than the mail truck man, Shane DiMantova, getting his first win of the season and defending his, so far, crown that he won last season. USA tonight, then Kansas, our first trip to America's Heartland in series history. We go back to Daytona for race number 4. Then we go dirt racing for the first and only time in the schedule at Lanier. We go back to Charlotte, but on the 2008 scan of the track for our throwback race, just like we did on our last several seasons. Texas makes its triumphant return with the Mario Kart theme. Then our first ever trip to Talladega Super Speedway. We've gone Daytona racing, but we've never done racing at Dega with the street stock, so that's always a big unknown, and that's pretty heavily into the season, so that's going to be right around championship decision time in the points. Then Phoenix, and then Homestead Miami Speedway to close things off for race 10 and the final one of the 2024 Season 3 schedule. Let's give you a rundown of what exactly happened last week at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where Shane DiMantova, I'm going to put Shane DiMantova there, but Shane DiMantova getting the win over Glenn Bundren. Shane used the draft from Blaze McKinney, two of them working in tandem. I think this graphic is always going to be cursed by something spelled wrong, but I did put this up rather quickly before the pre-race show started. But you've got Shane winning his first race of the 2024 season, basically piggybacking off of his Season 2 championship. Glenn Bundren finishing in second. Very strong effort by Glenn late in the going. Blaze McKinney, of course, our Season 1 champ, strong as always. Him and Shane basically worked back and forth all night long, and despite efforts by Keelan, Charlie, and myself on the high side to get around both of them, it was all for naught at the end of it. Alex Schumacher finished 7th in his rookie debut, and same goes for Zane Warkel, who finished in 8th. JJ Hill rounding out the 9-car field to see DNF midway through the race with a 9th place finish. So with all of that, that was the results from Charlotte. We should have some drivers new. Obviously, most of the field used to the format. Everyone used to this race, and we're still trying to get everyone in the Discord. So we may get a little longer on the interviews just because we want to get a little more content in, and we want to make sure that we can just get everything as squared away as possible. But I believe it's fair that because Shane DiMantova was the winner last time we raced in IQSSL on Monday last week, we'll talk to Shane this time through the winner from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Shane, the mail truck got it done in race 1, and I'm sure you're excited to try and go back-to-back here at USA tonight. Before we talk about this race here at the short track, but let's talk about what happened at Charlotte. You and Blaze seemed to be unstoppable, and you held on for your first win.
Yeah, for sure, Kenneth. It's just really a pleasure to be able to talk to you here once again, and I really appreciate you doing this for sure. But yeah, a huge thank you to Blaze. I really couldn't have done that last race without him. That was all him. He just was sticking on my back bumper the whole entire race, and it was just a really great performance start to finish. I actually didn't come into pit. I didn't crash. I didn't come into pit road once. So yeah, it was a top-notch race for sure.
It was certainly one to remember, especially because, you're the season 2 champ. You come right into season 3 after, 4 years of dormancy in this series, and you go right back to the win. It seemed like nothing really changed at all for you. Now, tonight is a new challenge, USA International Speedway, a track that, you've been around for, and I believe you've actually, had some decent success at. Talk to us about your thoughts about the short track race. Have you put any practice laps, and just what are your overall thoughts about the night?
No practice laps yet, but I think it's definitely going to be a fun one for sure. Again, we had some success. We've actually had some good success here in the past 2 seasons. I remember in the first season we were runner-up to JJ Honey won that race, and then in season 2, I believe that we grabbed the win here. So yeah, it's definitely not a track that stands out to me that I definitely think I can dominate, but it seems like at least statistically I've had a really good runs here. So yeah, it's just super exciting to be able to get on this short track. It's definitely not going to be an easy one, and I know they changed up these cars a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any fall off, which I'm hearing that there might be. So it'll definitely be a great race.
Well, you're right. Season 2 in that Barstool scheme, getting the win in that number 69. So I'm sure that, maybe some excitement is sparked around this time as you go into USA. I know we don't right now have a paint scheme for you. Do you want to send it now? Are you ready? Or do you want us to maybe tag you a little later on in the show and reveal the paint scheme?
Yeah, I'm not done with it quite yet. I'm still working on it. I'll keep you updated, and we're nearing the end, but it's definitely a pretty different but special paint scheme for sure for my favorite driver.
All right, well, we're glad that you're part of the fun, Shane, once again for race number 2. Maybe you can go 2 in a row. We'll just see, but best of luck in the race. Shane DiMantova, driver of the number 69, got the win. First time at Charlotte Motor Speedway this season. He's going to try and do it all over again and try to become a driver to go back-to-back. It really hasn't been done all too much in this series, although we've only had 2 campaigns. It's a little hard to see what history looks like when we've only had 2 seasons and the second one got cut short. So, we try our best. We try what we can, but nonetheless, we are going to continue to push forward. And we do have word, unfortunately, that JJ Hill, I don't think will be racing tonight. So unfortunately, we will not have JJ trying to defend one of his wins here at USA back in season 1. So he will not be able to try for second ever career IQSSL win. However, we hope that he's doing well, and hopefully he can show up when we go to our first ever race at Kansas next Monday night. We'll see if we can get someone else in the booth, and why don't we go with the other champ of IQSSL? We'll go with Mr. Blaze McKinney himself. And Blaze, I think something was special between you and Shane DiMantova back at Charlotte. It seemed like you two were unstoppable, and I know I damn well tried. I tried my best to run the high side, and it never worked. You guys were so fast. What came down to the success that you and Shane had last week and pushing over to your first podium of the season and helping Shane to the win?
Yeah, it really started from the beginning of the race. Even before the race started, we had we chatted and we committed to each other for the rest of the race. I wanted to focus on staying on his bumper and try to control the race, because really, at a track like that, if you can just get 2 cars right there on the bottom, hug the white line, I mean, you're not going to get past. The outside can hang with you, but the inside is just too good. So we committed to each other on the bottom. I hung to his bumper the whole race, and I mean, I told him if I came down the last lap, I'm just going to try to push him out front and hold him off. So I'm happy that he got the win. Happy we got third. It was fun racing there at the end with him and Glenn for the line. Pretty close photo finish. It was pretty fun. But yeah, it was just from the beginning of the race, we committed to each other, and it was just a lot of fun to have some sort of like almost like a little duo there at the front.
Almost thinking y'all were going to start hugging with the commitment you guys are making to each other at Charlotte. Bro, I tried. I think Keelan, Charlie, and I, we tried. We did what we could on the choose cone, but it never worked. You guys were just so fast. I don't know how you guys did it. But like I asked Shane, first short track race of the season at USA. Any particular thoughts? Anything that you've kept in mind going into this one?
I think this one's going to be, at least for me, a little more fun, just because you can actually really like drive the car and really have to control the race car in the corner, get on the brakes, try to get a good line going. And if you really get the hang of it, you can start to pull away. So hopefully we can do that. I ran a few laps just to see how the car was, and there actually is a little bit of fall off on these tires. So it'll be fun to see how everybody manages that. See if maybe some guys can save their rear tires a little more, because the thing does get a little loose on you. So should be a lot of fun. The car should be on edge. It'll be a lot of fun battling.
You know what? This is going to be the first actual skill race of the season, so I think a lot of us are sort of thinking what we're going to do, because we know that you, Shane, are some of the best iRacers in this group specifically, so I feel like I'm kind of scared a little bit, despite the fact that, it's IQSSL, we're supposed to have fun, but the competition, is always there. You guys always seem to be fast week in and week out. I think this is fun because, Blaze, you are going to do the honors of bringing us our first scheme reveal of the night, and this is a special one. You and I have only seen this one. Nobody else has seen it, so can you give us a special drum roll before we unleash the first scheme reveal of the night for favorite driver theme? 3, 2, 1, and this is a beauty. Blaze, I don't think, anyone doesn't know what this is. I think a lot of people know exactly what this scheme is based off of, but for those who don't, tell us what it's about, and new car too, the Monte Carlo.
Yeah, it's Kyle Larson's patriotic car from the last few years. Didn't run it this year in the Coke 600, but he ran it, I think, the last 2 years, and then some of the other races. It's honestly been probably my favorite car he's ran in the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know why. I just love this paint scheme even more than his regular car that he runs every week. I just love the stars and stripes. It just looks so cool, and I wanted to. I feel like if I wanted to do Kyle Larson, everybody probably would have expected the usual Hendrick cars, regular car that he runs every single week. But I wanted to kind of switch it up and do something a little different. So it's a lot of fun. It's really cool to do on the Monte Carlo too. The thing looks really, really cool.
Hey, I like the fact that you didn't just use the normal Hendrick car scheme, because this scheme to me also stands out. It's one of the prettiest Kyle Larson schemes I've ever seen, barring from some of the Target days when he used to run with Chip Ganassi Racing, because those schemes were bangers too. But, this one is certainly special in a lot of people's hearts, and special to Kyle Larson's career as a driver for Team Hendrick. Now, talk to us, though, about the decision to switch to what is called the Casino in iRacing, but we all know it's a Monte Carlo. It's a new street stock body. Just talk to us about why the change from the Panther.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people were gonna do this just because a new car, you gotta try it out. It's new, it's fresh. I think the old street stock just kind of got outdated, and it didn't really look like a street stock anymore. So I like these new ones. They look more realistic, like things you'll actually see on a short track, at your local short track. So it's really cool. And I'm a Chevy guy, so I had to pick the Monte Carlo. Put the SS decals on it. It's really, really cool. Did little hood accents there. So it's really, really cool to run this. I think iRacing did a great job putting this into the service.
Hey, I'm not going to disagree with you there. Chevy all the way. But this is a beautiful paint scheme. And obviously, Blaze, we're happy that you're back with us for race number 2. We'll see if you can go get race win number 1 of 2024 in our return to this series. But until then, best of luck in tonight's race.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Blaze McKinney, the Season 1 champ, has never won here at USA. Fun fact, is one of the most dominant drivers in series history. He's never picked up a checkered flag here, but the trend, at least from Season 2, is that if you win this race, you might go walk on to a season championship in IQSSL. It's what Shane did last season. We'll see if it happens this time around, and it is a beaut to start on the new Monte Carlo Casino body for the iRacing street stocks. And just before we get to the next interview, for those that don't know about the new street stock bodies on iRacing, for years since 2010 and since the inception of iRacing, the street stock had always been a specific model that you've seen countless times if you're around the iRacing service, and you've seen here already from our first race before the new recent build for 2024. We always had the same street stock body, and it's based off of a 1970s Gen 2 Chevrolet Camaro. I'm sticking to the Panther because I'm a Camaro fan, and I'm going to stick to it no matter what. But for a lot of people, like Blaze said, just got outdated, just got too old. They wanted new variety. So iRacing scanned some new street stocks. They called them the Casino and the Eagle, but they're based off of the Monte Carlo and the Ford Thunderbird. So new street stock bodies. We will have new of those and more of those to tell you about over the course of the night. So that's going to make it a lot more exciting. And why don't we turn over to one of the more exciting personalities on the grid, Glenn Bundren, driver of the the number 37. Glenn, how about the finish from last week? You came home second in a race that was very chaotic for you. You've been in some tussles here and there in Charlotte, but you're here at USA with a second place finish off of race number 1, second in points. How do you feel about this one tonight?
I felt like we got a windstorm last week, Kenneth. If Alex didn't go below in the grass and stay behind me, I could have pulled off too, but he had different ideas. But we're here at USA. It's a new day. It's a new car out. I mean, Kenneth, like we're gonna unveil the scheme that I'm racing here in about a couple minutes. Can't wait. Can't wait to get on track right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I know that one of my key memories of this series was a race at USA, and I'm pretty sure it was the Season 2 race where I think I had the pole and I led a bunch of laps, but every time I looked into my rearview mirror, you want to know who was there? You were all up my booty all the time. You were always on me, and I knew that if I made a mistake, I was going to get past, and I think you did get by me at some point. You were just the fastest car over the long run before everything happened and before Shane took the win from both of us, but you have a lot of pace at USA, and it's been shown through your time in this series, specifically last season. Are you carrying any sort of that momentum from last season to this? And have you ran any practice laps prior to the race?
No, Kenneth, I haven't. I mean, maybe 5 minutes of practice session. From what I can tell, with this new car and everything, you gotta wrap the bottom on that yellow line to get some speed here at USA. But I'm curious to see if we're gonna migrate to like the second lane or like a maybe diamond off or something, like when your track gets rubber or something. But we should be able to see it here in a second. But I mean, yeah, I think I was on your booty last year, so I mean, hopefully roles are reversed and you're chasing me and I'm in the lead, so should be fun.
All right, well, I'm gonna try to make sure that doesn't happen. But regardless, we talked to Blaze, and he gave us his new paint scheme reveal and his change to the Casino Street Stock model. I think that for another reveal for the scheme, I think we deserve a big drum roll before we show your scheme for favorite driver.
I have drumsticks here somewhere, but I can't find them.
All good. Just give us what you got. There we go. And this is it. So while
MGJ.
Blaze goes to the Casino, you go to the Eagle, the fourth Thunderbird model. And I think this scheme is very obvious, and it looks very gorgeous. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it's Martin Truex Jr.'s paint scheme that he's running this year on the next gen. But the car looks a whole lot better. The numbers on the right spot of the car. So I mean, it looks like a race car. So Blaze really knocked it out of the park on this one. MTJ's my favorite driver. I mean, obviously, it's known now. But yeah, it's a pretty cool scheme by Blaze.
It's a really gorgeous one, and Blaze, of course, sent me both of those paint schemes shortly before we went live on the Cable Winner Racing Network tonight. But let's switch the photo here, and let's see if I can get this resized correctly. This is the rear bumper license plate that you have on the car.
It is.
You know, I feel like I'm going to get clowned on the fact that I misspelled your name to Gleb last week, and maybe even more so now that I spelled Shane as Sean this week on the same graphic. But yeah, I think the audience deserve to see that. They deserve to see my pitfalls on getting information wrong, but also the license plate on the back of this car.
Exactly. We had like a little Christopher Busher moment whenever was it Dale Jr. was calling him Christopher Busher, and he just changed his name to Christopher Busher. So I mean, yeah, it's roles reversed in the Quarantine Street Stock series here. So we're just having fun, man.
All right. Well, Gleb, I don't know, man. That's a mistake. But whatever. Glenn, we really appreciate the time, and we know that you're fast at USA. We figure you're going to be fast once again. Best of luck on track tonight, and hopefully you can bring that scheme to victory lane or what may you, but it's a beautiful scheme nonetheless, and I'm excited to race with you tonight.
Thank you, man.
Glenn Bundren, or should we say Gleb Bundren in our Inside Friend Group discussions. Glenn Bundren in the number 37, finished second last week at Charlotte. Just talked about it, how close he was to the victory. There were 3 wide going to the start-finish line for those who didn't see it. And for those of you who didn't get to see it, well, you're not a part of the series, unfortunately. We don't like to broadcast our races on IQSSL, but we'll talk to another driver, and this time we'll discuss with the driver of the newly minted number 14, Charlie Byer, who used to be the 7, now the 14. And actually, funny enough, the screenshot that you see on the back end of this graphic, it was a local 58 car that you revealed, Charlie, back in Season 2. That actually is at USA, I think. That when you drove that car for that video, it was at USA. So talk to us about your thoughts about this race and how you feel coming off of last week.
I think this is a great race. It's a great racetrack. It's very classic, and almost part of the street stocks heritage, being in the rookie street stock series. So we put on some great shows here, and I couldn't be happier to be back. I mean, it's just a good track overall for the street stock, and a good for some good racing. It's gonna be fun. I got some new cars tonight, new models. It's gonna look really good. So I ran some practice laps, and the car's a little bit on edge. So it should make for a fun race.
That's exactly what Blaze told me earlier. He said this car gets a little loose, it's a little harder to drive, and the tire fall off seems to be a big point of discussion here at USA because, like I told, I think it was Blaze or Glenn, either one of them, it's a talent track now. We kind of have more of a skill-reliant track in USA since it's not just full throttle and bank it all the way around the corner and just play drafting games. You kind of have to drive this car a little bit, save your stuff, and try to be a little more strategical. So how do you change that mindset from Charlotte, which seemed to be like a demo derby at some points and just a super speedway, to a shorter track like USA where you kind of have to wheel the thing a little more?
Yeah, and it's technical in both ways. Especially on a big track like Charlotte and the majority of the tracks that we're visiting this season. It's tactical in the way that you have to manage the drafts, manage your line, and even throw some blocking in. But on this track, you're really trying to work the corners and really kind of strategize your moves around other people. It's not just full throttle, seeing who gets behind you. You gotta find the lines on this banked track and on this short bank track and try to put yourself in a good spot. This track is very heavy on track position. In years past, in short tracks in the street stock, it kind of is that way. So the best track position we can get is gonna put us in the best position to have a good finish.
Well, we've got your thoughts about the race. Now we got to get everyone's thoughts on your paint scheme. I'm sure several people have seen it a little bit, and I know this is one of my favorites on the schedule. And also, for those that have not paid attention to our inside group, or you're just watching this for the first time, Charlie actually designed about half of the field's paint schemes for tonight's race. So we call him the paint scheme designer for tonight. He's been hard at work, even in the hours before we went live tonight, trying to make everyone's paint scheme. So a lot of the schemes you'll see tonight, apart from several, is done by Charlie. So a big thanks to him. You got to give him a round of applause. And I hope everyone in the chat can also give him a round of applause for all of his hard work. There you go. There you go. AI round of applause. But we don't need applause. We need a drum roll right now, Charlie. Give us one before we show your paint scheme. Does this need explanation?
All right.
First of all, new body, and I love the scheme. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is, my favorite driver these days in the NASCAR world is Brad Keselowski, and I love King's Hawaiian rolls, so I thought, why not put that on a car? I'll tell you this, Kenneth, I wish that the Minions car that he ran this weekend was revealed before I made this, because I would have ran that. But King's Hawaiian. Instead of King's, if you look closely, you'll see that instead of the King's Hawaiian text, it says "Let's go Logano" for my buddy, and then above the rear tire, it usually says Slider Sunday, but I changed it to IQSSL Monday, obviously. So I think a few of us in the field, Kenneth, I think if you wanted to reveal yours right after me, I think that's a great idea, because a few of us decided, and the paint schemes that I designed, we kind of changed the text a little bit. I don't know if anyone in the chat is familiar with Rostock and how they take the bases and change the text. It's kind of like that for some of the paint schemes in the field tonight. But yeah, man, Slider Sunday, IQSSL Monday. That's how it's going to go tonight.
Hey, it gives us our little personality. But I think this was the first scheme made, as far as I'm concerned, for this theme, because before you showed me this one and before you were making this one, I hadn't seen anybody else's. And I know that you designed literally almost the entire field. So you started Eurozone first and then you did everyone else's. But for the Blaze, the Glens, the Shanes, hopefully we'll get to see Shanes in a little bit. A lot of those schemes were designed after you had built this car on the new Eagle body. So I think you get the first dibs on this paint scheme. It looks really good, and I'm excited to race against it. I hope it doesn't get banged up all too much, even though we know it's a short track, and we probably will get banged up a little bit. Pause on that, but on the racetrack we're talking about. But nonetheless, Charlie, I love the scheme. I love everyone's scheme, but I love yours particularly, and I love the text change. Shout out LGL, since we didn't interview him last week, and hopefully we can get to talk to him at some point throughout the season. But Charlie, best of luck in this race. This is going to be a special one on the short track, so it's going to be fun.
All right, I'll see you, Kenneth. Thanks.
That is Charlie Byer, driver of the number 14. I was going to say Charlie Baboy was he talked about the Minion paint scheme, but I hold that joke for the audience listening by themselves, and I hope nobody roasts me for that one. But we'll get to the next driver, and it is the driver of the 18 car. That is Mr. Keelan Belsha himself with the startup sound and bringing himself into the booth. Keelan, first of all, welcome to race 2. It's going to be awesome. USA on board. Just what do you think? What do you think about USA? Have you driven it at all? Have you gotten any thoughts about this race or just how different it's going to be from last week?
Oh, it's going to be a lot different. It's not going to be like the super speedways we've been hitting all season and are going to be doing all season. Thank you for having me up here, Kenneth. And I did run a rookie street stock race yesterday at USA. Hot lapped it, qualified pole by 3/10, and ran about 5 laps. Tires were gone. So that's going to be something we're going to have to look at today. The tire conservation, you're actually going to have to do something, and that's what's going to make this race kind of a wild card and probably favor the veterans like myself.
You know, as
Blaze.
a driver who's
Shane.
performed well in the point standings before, you finished top 5 in Season 2 standings, top 3 in Season 1 standings by at least 16 points to the eventual champion. You know a thing or two about being consistent and getting things rolling throughout the short, now 10-race season here in 2024. For someone who's driven at USA many times and for someone who basically started his iRacing career like many of us, you know, recently in 2020 with the street stocks in USA, how do you feel about that? And how do you feel about carrying the momentum from last week at Charlotte where you were able to pick up a top 5?
Yeah, consistency, it's just so important when you want to have a shot at the championship in this series because hell can break loose. You're going to use fast repairs. You're going to wreck. But the thing is positioning yourself there at the end. So what I like to do, I like to take the first 3/4 of the race, you know, feel out the car, wreck if you have to, get the fast repair, get back out there, and just try to position yourself up for the last 25 laps because you want to be coming to that final restart of the race with 5 to go. You want to be up there in the top 5. You don't want to be back because you were the yellow to bring out the 5 to go yellow. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all about consistency and what you got to do and a little bit of experience here. It'll favor all of us. We all came up through rookie street stocks and started here. I got my first win here in rookie street stocks. Got a lot more since then. So hopefully we can do that right tonight at IQSSL. Probably the most talented track we got to come to all season long. So it's gonna favor those guys with the experience.
It seems to be the name of the game. This track is definitely rewarding of the talent and the discipline you can carry behind the wheel versus just whether you have the right run out of the corner or if you have a right drafting partner with you. So I think tonight will be the proper challenge for all of us as iRacing drivers to see, you know, who might be the best over a long run or if we even get a long run or tire games, you know, all that stuff will actually matter tonight, which will make it a little more intriguing, probably multi-layered, but a lot more fun in that case. But if we're talking fun, we're talking a paint scheme, and you also have a brand new one to debut tonight. This one also painted by Charlie Byer, so give us a little drum roll, please.
All right.
And this is your scheme for tonight. I don't think there's any explanation if you're a NASCAR fan, but Keelan, talk to us about this scheme, the inspiration for it, and how excited you are to run it for the favorite driver theme.
Oh, it's the Kyle Busch number 8 Lucas Oil machine that he won at Fontana with and ran a couple races after that. But it says Trip because you know the dog Trip. He's a good old boy. You see Trip dog treats back there instead of Lucas Oil back there. So you know we're just kind of following the theme: Trip car, Trip car, Trip car, Trip car. Gonna try to race it, get it up front by the skin of our teeth.
And you know this is a Kyle Busch paint scheme that I think a lot of people fell in love with Kyle Busch over the season that he ran with RCR, his first season with the team when he switched over to Chevy. And so this scheme kind of brings back the memories. The last ever driver to win at Auto Club Speedway in NASCAR competition, at least till right now, in a next-gen car. So that's really exciting for this specific car, this Lucas Oil, I guess, Trip car now. But yeah, this one's awesome. I think Charlie did a phenomenal job with this one, much like he did with his own and the others that you'll see tonight. But why the Eagle? Tell us why you wanted to make the decision to switch to one of the newer street stock bodies we have for this race.
Well, you know, growing up, Kyle Busch fan, growing up kind of JGR fan, really. My dad, he was a big Ford guy back in the day, big Mark Martin fan growing up in that Winn-Dixie 60 car, you know, all those cars. great looking race cars. He was a big Roush guy coming in, and I came up to JGR, so we just kind of said to heck with the Chevys. So I've never really been a big Chevy guy personally. I mean, I drive a Colorado in real life, and Kyle Busch drives for Chevy now, so I'll support that. And Austin Hill, he's in a Chevy, but just never been the biggest Chevy guy. So I just, whenever I can make a decision to not drive a Chevy, I'm gonna not drive a Chevy personally. And I'm not trying to offend you or anything, but that's just kind of how I grew up. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because I run the Chevy in every NASCAR discipline, but I think that's only for Kyle Busch. If I don't have to run a Chevy, I don't want to. So
You know what?
might
Look,
be, might be,
I'm sad, but I get it. I get it though. I actually do get it.
yeah, you get it. Like
But
you're
look,
probably the same way with Ford. Like you say,
that's true.
heck
That's true.
Ford.
I would never run a Ford or a Toyota for that matter.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
run it. But look, Keelan, I'm gonna ask you something very special right now. I want you to turn on
Is
your
this is
camera
it
so the
happening?
audience can see what you're
Oh my
wearing
God.
tonight because you got a
Oh,
new shirt, and I think everyone
you
should know about it. So turn on the camera.
I did
Let's
get
get it on.
I did
You're
get
on
a,
the feed
I
right
did get a
now
new shirt.
for
Look at this.
Thunderbird,
Okay.
and tell us about the shirt.
Look. Okay, I got this at Old Navy today. Look, it's got the Ford logo on it, but look at the back, Kenneth. Look at the look.
Oh
Look,
yeah,
it's a
there you go.
Isn't that awesome?
That's a
Ford
that's a
Bronco
19 what is it
shirt?
1970s Ford Bronco.
Yeah, 78, I believe is what it says up there. It's awesome. This is just killer. And then I got some golf boxers too. Like you can't tell me this isn't freaking pimp as hell.
It's kind of hard. I'm not gonna. It's pretty
It
hard. But
is.
like I wanted to show it just because I know you were excited about the shirt, but you're also running a Ford, so I think it's kind of on brand to run Ford all around for tonight's race at USA. And the scheme looks phenomenal. I'm excited to see it on track as you try to chase your first win of the season. Keelan, best of luck tonight at USA. We're happy to have you back on board for race 2.
I appreciate it, brother. I'll look forward to seeing you out there.
Much love to Keelan Balsha. He's out of the booth. We're going to try to get our next driver in, and we're going to talk with a rookie driver. This time, hopefully we can get a word with Mr. Zane Warkel, who is in his second ever IQSSL race. Zane, you got a copy with us? Zane, this is Kenneth up in the booth. You got a copy with us?
Yeah.
All right. All right, Zane. Well, we've got your second ever IQSSL race. Maybe the nerves are gone after race 1 at Charlotte. Maybe they're not. But what are your feelings like before this one tonight?
You know, I feel a little bit better. Last race kind of went a little. It was a rough one. I'll say that. Multiple crashes, a little bit of some roughs around the edges. But I was happy to still be able to finish. Keep my car in one piece for the most part.
Hey, you know what? I think we all tried our best, and I think we were all still getting used to driving street stock to Charlotte because a lot of us have gone into driving a lot of other things on the sim, or, we hadn't driven this series at all in several years. So, hey, I really get it. I get it, and you did phenomenal in your first race, and I think you're finally going to have the experience to run here at USA, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So talk to us about that, though, like getting used to IQSSL and, after the first race, kind of what your thoughts were about the league itself, running in this league, and if you start to prepare a little more for this USA race on the short track and what you've been doing in between throughout the week.
So unfortunately, haven't had no practice sessions, but work was calling, you know what I mean? But for the most part, get that first race kind of an eye opener because I was used to just doing your regular sessions and stuff like that. So being able to have, a different kind of qualifying system, being able to run with some pretty tough competition was really nice. It improved my lap times too, which was just, great, honestly. So I'm just happy to still be in here. I'm ready for this race. Hopefully I can climb a little bit higher than 8th.
Always a first start in this series, and I think there's a bright future for you as one of the 2 rookies, now 3 rookies, actually, as we'll talk about it. There's a spoiler there down that road, but we'll get to it in a little bit. But Zane, you've got a good paint scheme tonight, also designed by Charlie Beyer, but it is a really awesome scheme with a great story behind it. So can you give us a drum roll before we get this paint scheme?
Gotcha.
Oh, there we go. That's a crisp drum roll. Let's get a look at this one. Oh, this one is awesome. This one is just so cool. And I think a lot of people got, attention to NASCAR because of this moment and this car. So I want you to tell us the story and what this one means to you.
So, honestly, I'm new to NASCAR. I'm being honest here. I'm new to racing as a whole. I've been always wanted to get into it, but like I never had. My family didn't really care about it, so I was kind of football, whatever, do that. But ever since I saw that clip of the 2022 Martinsville race, it really just was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like I was on the edge of my seat, and I had no idea anything about it. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to pay a tribute to this driver. He's now my favorite. Almost won Daytona. Very upset that he crashed for no reason. But giving a tribute to the Hail Melon, and I'm ready to run this track and hopefully hit the wall. It'll just camouflage all the hits I take today.
This is a banger scheme, I'm not going to lie. And the thing that Charlie was talking about, it stays true with a lot of the paint schemes that he designed, is that instead of the actual sponsors that the drivers ran, we get a similar look, but we change up the words. So instead of Be a Moose, it's beazane.org, which I think is really awesome. And this scheme is going to look really good at USA. Not sure whether we're running in the daylight or under the lights. I think we are under the lights, but it's going to look good no matter what kind of session we run it in. But Zane, this one is going to be awesome. And again, I want to express our gratitude that you're in this series. I think adding the rookies and adding new members to the group is always a lot of fun. We're always happy to have new people join us and join in our common interests. So we're glad again that you're back with us in race 2. We're happy that you're going to be with us for season 3, and good luck on track tonight at USA.
Thank you, Keelan.
That is the Zane Train, Zane Warkle and his Ross Chastain paint scheme. That is the "take a look at what he did" paint scheme. That famous Rick Allen quote when he made the championship 4 just based on that move at Martinsville. So, that's another great scheme. Credit to Charlie for making that one on his downtime. And with that, we get to drop a bit of a bombshell here on the K1O Racing Network. And this is a name that you're probably quite familiar with if you've paid attention to the last several years of our broadcasting on this channel. When you hear my voice in the broadcast booth, there are races where I am by myself or with somebody else in the broadcast booth, but there's usually one person that has always shared the commentator spot with me in the booth for a lot of the races. His name is Francisco Bacallao, and for the first time ever, he's going to be running in the IQSSL with us tonight, and we're so happy to have Francisco join us. Francisco, first of all, welcome. This is a shocker. This is your first ever start in the series. How do you feel?
It's going to be a memorable one for sure. That's certainly the way I view it.
And this one is a return for you on iRacing in a long time, because I know that you were running off of a laptop that unfortunately couldn't run iRacing for a little while after. I think it was the rain update that it stopped working. But you've got a new PC, you're refreshed, you get to take the track once again. Walk us through what that's like in your head mentally to get back on track in sim and to race in a series like IQSSL, to which you've never raced before, but we're excited to have you nonetheless.
Yeah, I think the last time I was able to participate in a league race was March of 2023, so it's been over a year, and I haven't done an official race in exactly a year ago, so it's been a long time, like you said, and I mean, like I said, tonight's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Never really raced a street stock league of any kind, and I haven't done that since the rookie class series way back when. But it's bound to be fun. It's certainly a historic league with its fair share of memories and all that. And the way I'll remember my first start is by using a flight yoke as a steering wheel, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh, that's going to be fun. I know that you had a wheel over there in your room, but I didn't know you were using the whole flight yoke system for tonight.
I may as well. I'm doing homework, and I think I'm not going to have enough time to swap it out, so I'm going to have to improvise here.
You know what? We've seen a mouse at use, we've seen a keyboard at use, a controller at use. I've never seen someone use a yoke on iRacing before, so this is a first on the K1O Racing Network for sure. But Francisco, can you give us a little drum roll? We're going to unleash your paint scheme. Another masterpiece done by Charlie Byer. But can you give us a drum roll for this scheme review?
Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
Wait, that's the wrong one.
Well, whatever. It's a ba-dum-ts, and here's the paint scheme. This is the second Kyle Busch themed paint scheme that we have tonight. First, we had Keelan's with the Lucas Oil colors, and this is another main scheme for Kyle Busch. So talk to us about this one.
Yeah, so obviously it's portrayed as the 3-chi paint scheme with which Kyle Busch ran last year, and I took inspiration from the plane that I'm flying on when I do my flight lessons. It was down between this one, November 510 Foxtrot Alpha, and November 611 Echo Alpha, but I went with Foxtrot Alpha just because of it was the one I really got my training going in. Now I split both, but I really liked the way it looked, and just the number combination, I felt like it would suit the car, and I don't know, just something about it told me, yes, let's just do that. I feel like it suited what I'm doing now. It suits where I'm right now with myself, and I can't wait to see it out there on the racetrack.
It is really awesome. And for those who, don't necessarily know all of our personal stories, if you've watched broadcasts on the K1 Racing Network, Francisco is actually in his journey right now to become an airline pilot. And he's currently taking the skies now at the Miami Executive Airport. And, this is a great tribute to that specific plane. It's a Cessna Skyhawk, yes?
Yes, a Cessna 172 November.
Yes, that is the classic a starter plane and a classic airplane in its own right. But Francisco is on the route to getting his license to be a commercial pilot. That is his dream someday. So this is a good start. He's taken the skies over the last several months, and it's been really exciting. So Francisco, we're happy that you're with us on the first debut race for you in IQSSL, and we'll see you on the track. It'll be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Kenneth, and it's been fun being back at K1 Racing Network. It's been a while.
It has been a while since the 4-wide championship. It's been a minute. So Francisco Bacalhau in his first ever start, it will be tonight. Now, before we get to my paint scheme, which I didn't even get to last week, we're going to bring back in Shane DiMantova because we have a paint scheme reveal. I think we actually have two. We have two. We have one for Shane, and we also have one for Alexander Schumacher, one of the rookie drivers in the series. So we're going to start with you, Shane. I'm getting this ready right now on OBS just so we can get it unlocked and ready. Let me see if I can do it. But Shane, before we get to this paint scheme reveal, just give us a little drum roll, if you can, to get us excited for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Here it is. It's a little out of frame on the box, but it still works nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this one's a banger. Tell us about this one, Shane. I don't think I've ever seen this scheme run before on anything on iRacing.
Yeah, it's a little throwback to Kyle Larson's Huggies car that he ran. I believe it was either 2015 or 2016. But yeah, similar to Blaze, I didn't want to I'm a Kyle Larson fan. That's what I really wanted to do. But I wanted to choose something that was different and a little more original and creative. So yeah, we got the diaper mobile tonight.
Oh, this one's fire. I love the purple on it too. And, I've seen a lot of target schemes, but never one like this. So this one's going to look good. Shane, best of luck on track. I know we had to bring you in twice, but still, best of luck. And I'm going to be excited to see this paint scheme on track for sure.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Oh, well, we dragged him out at the wrong time. Oh, boy. Well, that was my fault. But Shane on his route to another win in the number 69. Hopefully he can do it. We're going to reveal one more paint scheme. We do not have the chance to talk with Alexander Schumacher right now, one of the rookies in the IQSSL Season 3 campaign, but we think it's going to be fair to release his paint scheme nonetheless, and this one, another banger done by Blaze McKinney. This is again on the new Casino Monte Carlo street stock body, and this is, I think, based off of the Ross Chastain colors in his Busch car that he's ran this year several times. So instead of Busch Light, you've got Shoei Light. Very beautiful spec map on the side and top of the race car with that spec map chrome number 68. That one's going to look good under the lights at USA International Speedway. And Charlie Beyer is back in for this one, I think. Yes.
You can't forget your paint scheme.
I'm not. I was going to do mine. I was going to do mine right after Shoei. I wanted to give Shoei his little love before we get to mine. So everyone's done. Everyone's paint scheme is done. And I never got to show mine from race number 1. I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is show my paint scheme for tonight. and Charlie is...
Yeah, tell us about this one.
Okay. Charlie gave me some inspiration on the logo. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But my favorite driver used to be Jimmy Johnson for the longest time. Still is Jimmy Johnson, although he struggled in his recent endeavors back into NASCAR. But whatever. That's not the point. The point is, my favorite driver now is Tyler Reddick. And Tyler, of course, being a part of 2311 in that collaboration with Michael Jordan owning the team, I wanted to do a Jordan car, and I decided why not do his Talladega win scheme. It's a white and black elephant type of a Jordan style that's really nice, but it's a really simple paint scheme, so I thought, hey, why not? So I'm making this paint scheme, And at first, the Jordan logo was going to be the KBRN logo in black, just shaded out, and I thought it would be fine. Then Charlie gave me the idea, hey, why don't you find a picture of you doing a jump shot and then outline the silhouette and put that in the middle? So I found a 10-second clip that I have on my phone of me not nailing a jump shot. I nailed the rim. I didn't even get into the basket, but I shot the jump shot and I missed. But it's me mid-shot. So that's me in the middle of the logo, launching a jump shot. There's no basketball, but that's okay. And it's just KBRN themed. You can't really see it on the back quarter panel, but from what would say the Beast Unleashed, it says the Bueno Unleashed. There's also the Pinnacle logo, which instead of Pinnacle, it says Podium. And then Money Line on the back, which actually says FIU Panthers. So this is a new scheme. I'm also using the Camaro LT1 decals for the first time this season to be referenced to my real-life car on the streets. So that's my paint scheme for tonight, and I think that will do it for all of the paint schemes. Charlie, how excited are you for this one?
Excited, man. I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, there's also JJ Hill's paint scheme because his iRacing is updating. So may or may not make it, but I still think it might be worth it. So, but Kenneth, while you pull it up, how are you feeling about tonight?
I'm feeling good. I know I've done well in this race before. In Season 2, Glenn and I were going back and forth for the lead, and I was one of the faster cars before Shane just literally destroyed us at the end and took the win because he's obviously really good at what he does on iRacing. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think for a track that's a little harder to drive, that relies a little more on tires, I think I'm going to like the challenge, and I know that we're going to get physical on track. Everyone's going to probably crash at some point in the race because, we're all crazy, but it is going to be cool. I'm going to have a lot of fun. I know it's going to be awesome. And the paint schemes are going to look even better seeing it all together on the track. This is JJ Hill's paint scheme, by the way. This is also done by Charlie Byer. Charlie, can you talk to us about the lore of trying to find that stupid rainbow circle that's nowhere else on the internet?
Oh, man. So this is the Eric Jones Xfinity car, the GameStop. Oh, man, I'm not sure. I can't remember the sponsor name.
It's Rock Candy, no?
Rock Candy. And it's a pretty outdated sponsor. It's pretty obscure. Ironically, it's the paint scheme that was involved in the crash that broke Kyle Busch's leg.
Oh. Which
I think is a little bit ironic for JJ and also kind of funny. But anyway, yeah.
And well, there are also 2 Kyle Busch paint schemes in the field tonight.
Yes.
So.
Yes, that is true. So speaking of niche sponsors, there's the circle that you see on the car that's all over the place. And Kenneth, you and I both can attest how hard it was to find this circle and
Worst
put it on this car. Ever. Yes, it was a lot. So we ended up taking a paint scheme from Trading Paints because this circle that appeared on the cars and the iRacing cars that we saw in Trading Paints, couldn't find it. So eventually, yes, we just went on the Trading Paints and we used this, and that's just what we're gonna have to roll with.
Yo, I mean, it honestly, for what we tried to look for it, all the efforts and trying to look for it, it looks good. I think it looks good. And I hope JJ likes the scheme as well, and I hope he can join us for the race because I told the audience that he wasn't going to make it, but if his iRacing is updated, he probably should be able to make it soon, hopefully.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, because he has a win here. Like, Season 1, he got the win. So, I mean, trying to go for 2. He's going to be the first driver, one of the first drivers to try to go for 2 wins at the same track, I think.
Yep.
So, we'll see. That says Golf Stop on the side of the car, by the way, instead of GameStop. Because we're trying to find a sponsor for JJ. So, Golf Stop it is. But that's everyone's paint schemes. That'll do it for us here at the Cable and Racing Network USA on tap for the IQSSL Season 3 campaign. First short track race of the season, and much like the last several seasons, we run Charlotte and USA races 1 and 2. This will probably be pivotal into seeing a brand new winner, maybe brand new leader in the point standings. Who knows, but it's going to be a lot of fun. On behalf of all of us here at the IQSSL and our entire friend group, we thank you so much for watching our coverage of the Instagram Quarantine Street Stock League pre-race show prior to the USA Roller Coaster 65. I'm Kenneth Bueno. We'll see you on the track somewhere, but until then, we'll see you next Monday for our pre-race coverage from Kansas Speedway.